What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a quick look at the Reximus Prime stainless steel version, or a oversized knockoff of MP-08 Grimlock. So this is actually quite an old figure. This came out years ago. I reviewed it on this channel. It was a little bit different of a version. I had a hard time getting a hold of this one, but I had the comic version, which was with blue. It didn't have this nice metallic, shiny paint here. So I ended up selling it. I didn't keep it, but then this guy came along, and actually there's a bunch of them coming in different colors, and one color they never offered before, which is the shattered glass, which we'll be taking a look at in the future. But since we got this guy, I decided, let me take a look at him. This will be a quick review just to show you the accessories, features. We'll look at the alt mode as well, and then we'll get out of here. But I didn't want to kind of show it off. Now, the paint job is absolutely phenomenal. They did a great job on this kind of metallic silver. They call it stainless steel. The gold chrome looks really good. It's pretty clean overall. There are some, fingerprint or smudges or whatever, but on this, at least anyway, on my copy, you can kind of clean it up. So it does end up looking really nice and shiny. Nice red paint here on the crotch. Got the metallic blue, translucent red and green there. Black paint here. Going to the back, you can see you got the Grimlock head and the wings. That all looks nice. We'll see that more obviously in dyno mode, but that all looks really good. While we're back here, one question that I've gotten is, are these stable, these tail pieces? The answer is yes. On the original MP-08, those were very loose. They just pop out. They're actually tight enough that they stay. At least on my copy anyway. You can push them in there. But the issue with them is not that, and we'll see this more in the dyno mode, but this chrome has been totally scratched up and has tons of fingerprints. They're not my fingerprints. That looks like they're embedded into the chrome paint, so that's not going to look great when we get to the vehicle mode. But I'm going to just leave that alone for now. But as far as the tightness of it, it does seem to stay. It doesn't seem to be, falling out. But yeah, overall it looks pretty good. Let's go over his articulation. The head's on a ball joint, but it gets way up to there, down to there. You get side to side of that, and it rotates around. I can't remember. I don't think the original moved up all the way up to there. So that seems to be improved. For the shoulder joint, you have a ball joint. It's very tight. I remember the old one being very loose. So it seems they might have fixed that. Get a butterfly joint out of that. Get it up to there. It's kind of a weird choice, but you can't rotate it up. You have a rotation at the bicep. And by the way, this is some old school articulation, right? This MP-08 is one of the very early masterpiece figures. You have a double jointed elbow. If you bend the top first, you can get a little bit further, but ultimately you really only get 90 degrees out of this. You can't really get it past there. You have a rotation at the wrist. This wrist is kind of a solid piece, and I'll show you in a little bit when I show you the gimmicks, but there's a light up feature here, which is why this hand doesn't have any articulation. It's just basically a solid one piece, but you can't rotate it there. You have a rotation here at the waist. You do have an ab crunch. Not really. It's sort of a fake ab crunch because the hip skirts rotate with the legs. But he doesn't really have a ab crunch per se. Going down the legs, they rotate up to there on a friction joint. I really think this should have been a ratchet. Even though the original might have been a ratchet, they should have put ratchets. But it is nice and tight. Seems to hold. There is no die cast here in the legs. I know that was a question people asked me. Is there die cast down here? No. The answer is no. There's no die cast there. This piece right here is die cast. This piece right here has some die cast in it. But overall, there's not a lot of die cast. He's relatively, sturdy. It feels good, but it's not filled with die cast like you might expect. You have a rotation at the thigh at this joint right here. You have a 90-degree bend at the knee. Actually, sorry, much more than 90 if you move this tail out of the way. But it is a ratcheted joint at the knee. You have ankle tilt that direction and this direction. So you get both ways. You also get forward and backward here. So you get some movement out of that. Again, it is the original MP-08 design, so it doesn't seem to have improved or changed articulation. This hand, you do get a thumb, and the fingers are on a single pin, and I believe that's how MP-08 was. You can move the pointer finger separately, but it doesn't really serve any purpose because you can't point it. But there you go for articulation. Overall, pretty much the same. Oh, and I guess you can move the wings too on a ratcheted joint, and you can put them outwards. So if you want them kind of splayed out like that, you can have it. All right, now I'll go over his gimmicks and accessories, and let's get in on the head here. And the head looks really nice. You got a nice metallic silver for the face and then metallic red for the eyes. That looks really good. If you prefer the blue eyes, you can do that. You can come to the back here. There's a little switch. I believe this is the same as the original MP-08, but if you pull down on the switch, just slide it down to this position, you'll have the blue eyes, the blue visor. I think that looks really good. I prefer the blue myself, but nice to have the option there. You can also take the accessory here, the crown, and this will fit over top. You can see there's a little cutout notch on the front that goes over the front of his head. And now you can make him King Grimlock with his crown. And that looks great. You also still get the light up feature, so they've built that in. You can see right here, there's a little battery compartment. If you remove that screw and then remove the battery compartment, which is actually tabbed into the front here, so you're going to pull it out from the back, 2 LR44s can go in there. If you come to the back of his shoulder, there is a switch right here. So we'll push that in, and you'll see that does light up his fist. The gimmick didn't always work that well anyways, but it does light up the fist, which is why he has a solid fist here. If you take the sword, it's got a translucent handle which goes into here, and it does light up. It's just kind of hard to see. Pretty nice, although I do wish it was a little bit brighter, but it's just due to the way they designed it. That's about as bright as it's going to get. Right, continuing on, we also get the gun here done in black plastic, a little bit of silver paint there, then translucent for the tip and the handle. This one, if you put it into the light up hand, it doesn't really do anything because it's not light piped all the way through. So I'm not sure why they made the handle clear, but this will fit into this hand. Now this one's designed a little bit differently, maybe like the original, but there's a little peg right here and there's a little slot for the peg to go in. So you do have to get it in there. It's a tight fit. I don't like how it feels. I feel like I'm going to break it, but it does go in there. You can hold the gun. Not the most secure fit, but it does work. And for a quick size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. Nice big robot mode here. Actually bigger than the Fans Toys, which we'll look at in a comparison later on. But here you go for sense of size. Looks good. All right, now we'll get this guy transformed into his Dino mode. Since we have done the review on MP-08 before, and this is such an older figure, no reason to show it here. We'll get it transformed off camera. Be right back. All right, and there you have Reximus Prime in his Dino mode, and it looks great. The paint really shines here. You get the full effect of that metallic silver. You get the nice translucent with the gold underneath. Everything pretty much works in this mode. There's nothing that's, loose or has an issue, except I don't seem to be able to get the tail. If you wag the tail in the original MP-08, it would rotate the head. There is a little gimmick there. I tried twice to get it to work. I couldn't. So I don't know if it's just, doesn't connect or what. But other than that, it's pretty good. I'll talk about the tail in a minute, but the chrome is really poor on this. It's got a lot of fingerprints, almost like built into the chrome, and just scuffs and scratches. But other than the tail, I mean, this thing looks really good. Let's go over the gimmicks and the articulation. The head, go up and down on this joint. You can open up the jaw like this. There is a closing jaw feature. It's on a ratchet here, but I noticed now that I pushed it once. Okay, there we go. Now it's locking in place. So there's like 2 clicks, and then that'll close it. There's a little flamethrower inside. I don't have a blast effect that fits that, but that's what it looks like. You rotate the neck side to side. It is on that little ratchet, which was meant to be the tail feature there. Before we leave the head, you can lift up this panel just like the original, and there's a little spring-loaded piece you can lift up, rotate the eyes to the side, and you get the blue, and now you can have that look. if you prefer the blue. Me personally, I like the red. Shoulders on a ball joint, rotate all around, go up and down, in and out. 180-degree bend at the elbow. The claws are individually articulated. They're very sharp, so just be careful, but you can move them. They aren't die cast, they are plastic, chromed plastic, so just be careful with those. One of the legs, you have that same joint on the arm, now on his hind legs. It is pretty tight. Just be careful not to depress this button and, basically drain your battery. But rotation here, 2 joints here, just like you did on the arm. The toes will bend downwards. Nice tight joints there. I remember the original MP-08 had some loose joints on the legs, so making posing a little bit more challenging. But back here you have the tail that does waggle. It's supposed to waggle here too, but like I mentioned, I can't get it to do the little gimmick thing that it's supposed to do. And the tail definitely needs some TLC because the chrome. I tried to actually rub to clear off the fingerprints, and it turns out the fingerprints were embedded. So you can see those fingerprints are embedded in the chrome paint. And for a quick size comparison, there he is next to the MP-10 Optimus Prime, towers over him, which he should. I mean, Grimlock should be much bigger than Optimus, but I do like the size of this compared to the other MP options out there for Grimlock. So yeah, there you go. So final recommendations on the Reximus Prime stainless steel version. I'm going to give this a 4 to 5. I'm going to recommend it. I think this is a really cool version of Grimlock. If you already have the Gigapower version, which has a metallic paint, or you've got the Fans Toys X version, which is very hard to come by, but if you have it, then you probably don't have a need for this. But if for some reason you aren't able to get those two, this is a very, very good stand-in, especially for the price point at $90. This is a really good value. It just works. It's got nice tight joints, works in robot mode, works in the dyno mode, and you get all the accessories. But the only thing I have a complaint about is this tail. I got kind of unlucky. I'm not sure if it's a results may vary thing or if it's all like this, but definitely not a great job on the chrome on the tail. But other than that, I mean, it's a really good version. So if you're looking for a metallic style Grimlock, I think this is a really good option and a really good price point. Now we'll be looking at one more of these. It'll be the shattered glass version, and we'll kind of compare just how the colors look and all that. That's not going to be a full review, but that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.